He comes from a lineage of great sages, yogis, and saints from India. He began his spiritual journey at the age of 7 and was fully realized by the age of 14. During this time, he delved into different practices and acquired mastery over Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Aghori practices, and Yaksha sadhana. He was a siddha, and many masters, saints, and sages used to visit him in solitude to gain wisdom and guidance from him since the tender age. Although he has been helping humanity since childhood, he never disclosed this part of him to the world, and only the advanced yogis and masters were aware of his divine presence. Only in the last 2 years he chose few people from the world and started guiding them in their spiritual paths, and those who have been closely associated with him have witnessed many miracles in his presence. Despite being a family person, he is a yogi and intends to help people entangled in this world achieve Jivan Mukti, liberation while being alive. He is truly in the world but not of the world, and if you really want to understand him, look him beyond his physical appearance and just sit with him, and you will never be the same again. In his presence you will transcend your body and mind and experience the state of Sat, absolute truth, Chit, pure consciousness, Ananda, eternal bliss. Let us fold our hands in front of his divinity and with a heart filled with gratitude and love welcome our spiritual guru, the realized soul, and our enlightened master, Guru Meenakshi Mishra.
Shivam Shivakaram Shantam Shivatmanam Sivottamam Shivamarga Pranatartham Pranatoshmi Sada Shivam Pranatosmi Sada Shivam Pranatosmi Sada Shivam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Aham Brahmasmi. So good morning everyone, and good evening to the people from the other part of this world. Swagat hai sabhi ka. So as we begin this session, I just want all of you to just close your eyes, because something needs to be again settled down. The people, those who have just awakened from the dream state to this awakened state, and again will be transcending into that space of Shushupti and Turiya. And as this session is all about that, so let's begin. So just keep your eyes closed. And while keeping your eyes closed, just observe all the things that's going on in your mind. You need not judge anything, just see what's happening. Just observe. You need not judge it whether it is a good thought, a bad thought, a worrisome thought, or a happy thought. So no meaning to that thought. उस विचार के ऊपर कोई भी मायने मत जोड़िए. बस शांत चित्त के साथ अपने विचारों को देखें. Just watch them. Especially for the people for whom it is morning right now. While you are closing your eyes, even it can happen to the other side of the world as well. Just when you are closing your eyes, as you have awakened early in the morning, right away you can experience something very, very deep. There are two parts to it. One, when you are closing your eyes are going to close down as if they are going to sleep. आपके आंखें जो है वो बिल्कुल जैसे आपको निद्रा अवस्था में जैसे लगता है, आपकी आंखें वैसे लगेंगी. They are closing down as if you are going to fall asleep very easily. But at the same time, there is something that is alert within you, that is listening to each and every word spoken. जो भी बोला जा रहा है उसे, there is one alertness. But if you just take that alertness away, it won't take much time for you to go to sleep. You will easily fall asleep if you just drop that consciousness. At times it happens when you go to sleep on a daily basis, and at times while meditating also, the same thing takes over. Once the consciousness moves out in such a space, it is very easy for the body to fall asleep. But at the same time, when your consciousness is focusing on my voice and words, you just try to open your eyes and you will realize actually the eyes are trying to sleep, but the consciousness is awaking you. आपकी आंखें बंद होके सो जाना चाहती हैं, लेकिन आपका जो चेतना है, वो जो जागृत है, वो जागने की कोशिश कर रहा है, जिसके वजह से आप मेरे बातों को सुन पा रहे हो. नहीं तो अगर आप गहरे नींद में उतर गए, इफ यू आर इनटू डीप स्लीप, सुषुप्ति की अवस्था में चले जाते हो, उस समय में मेरी आवाज आप तक नहीं पहुंचेगी. You won't be able to hear my voice, because that's where many people say that while we are doing practices, I don't know, I fell asleep. वो क्या हो गया? You actually fell into that sleep where the consciousness moved out. So in order to understand these entire things today, we will go into the elaborately discuss on the four parts of the consciousness, that is Jagrit, Swapna, Shushupti, and Turiya. And we will not only wait or stop there, we will go beyond that, wherein we will divide those into 4, 4, 4, and 3 parts. So total 15 parts of the same 4 things. And you will realize, like for many of us, we keep on asking, like, am I progressing in the field of spirituality? Am I going anywhere, or it's just stuck somewhere? So in this case also, like when we are going to talk about all this, you will have a lot of clarity And you will realize and you will see yourself where you are exactly standing right now. You will be able to really hang on to certain stages of it, where it will be very, very clear to you that you have moved to a very, very different space. So, and many a times people ask like, okay, what's the difference between a person who is in this world, how he sees the world, and what's the difference perspective through which the yogi looks at it? Or a person who is a Buddha, or a person who is awakened, a person who is a great saint, how does he see the world or she sees the world? So now you can open your eyes and we will start with understanding the realization of, because there is a beautiful saying that when you're awake, then you can learn certain things of this world. जागृत समय में आप संसार के जो शिक्षा है, means the knowledge of this world can be achieved when you are awake. So in order to get into that, we will be starting with one particular thing that we always love to start with, is a story. So कहानी बहुत सरल, simple रहेगी, but we believe the magic happens in that simplicity. So there was a king in the long old days during the reign of Buddha. गौतम बुद्ध के काल और समय की बात है. Like there used to be a king, and that king was very, very proud of his own self. He wanted to be the number one in everything, kind of thing. And he used to do anything, like he's ready to do anything to get the praise of people. And he said, I am the number one and I am the greatest. No one like me. So he used to go and reach out to the neighboring countries and ask them, like, do you agree that I am the most amazing person? If they agree, that's fine. Or else he used to attack them and win over them and all this kind of thing. And always he felt that he is the most amazing thing that has ever happened. So he lived with that. One fine day when he was going in a forest, he heard two people speaking. What were they speaking? They were speaking that it's great that we have a king who thinks himself to be the greatest, but he's nothing compared to that king. Our king thinks he himself to be a greatest one, but he is nothing compared to the other king. Now, when the king heard this, he could not digest that. He sent out two of his soldiers to pull those two people out. And when they are brought in front of him, and the king asked, what are you saying? That I am good, but there is someone whom I cannot be compared with. Whom are you talking to? You tell me, or else you will be sentenced to death right away. Then both the people said, like the friends that were there, they said, O king, we are talking about none other than Gautam Buddha. Because in front of him, even the king of kings all bow down. There are many kings, those who have bowed down in front of him. And now, that's why I say, compared to him, we find you a little small in front of him. Now this king had a big ego and big anger, and so he said, okay, so if that is the case, what he thought is, what if I go to Gautam Buddha, because I have made so many kings bow down in front of me. What if I go to Gautam Buddha and ask him to bow down in front of me? Now, if he bows down in front of me, then everything is done. All others will agree that I am the greatest. So what he does is he goes to Gautam Buddha with lot of his might and power and money and all the stuff he takes away along with it. लेके जाता है गौतम बुद्ध के पास. And then when he goes to Gautam Buddha is sitting in his under a tree, and he goes and says, "Oh Gautam Buddha, people think you are king of kings, but I am the king of kings. And I have brought something for you." And he shows the truckloads of cartloads of wealth that he has bought to give to Gautam Buddha. Then Gautam Buddha looked at him and smiled and said, "O king, I don't need those." And Gautam Buddha brings out his bowl in front of him and he says, "I just need this much and this much of food, not gold. And whatever fills this bowl is enough for me." But the king says, "How come is it possible that you left your kingdom and now people are going down to you and you are not even in need of all these things? What is this happening?" The Gautam Buddha says, "Do you really want to know?" And then he said, "Yes, I want to know." Might be out of his ego. He said, "Yes, I want to know." Then Gautam Buddha said, "Then you have to come along with me." And Gautam Buddha takes to a nearby place where a person is, he is in a pond where there are a lot of clay and mud out there. So he's taking all that and putting on his face and dancing in that. The Gautam Buddha goes and just stands and looks at him. That person is so happy, just putting that clay and mud on his face and body and just dancing in amazement. Then Gautam Buddha just stays there, and after some time that person notices that Gautam Buddha is standing there. He comes running towards Buddha and just try to touch his feet, and he says, Gautam Buddha says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm just realizing my own worth." The Gautam Buddha says, "Can you elaborate? What's your worth?" And then he said that, "I used to be very, very proud of the way I look. I was the most good-looking person in this entire place. People used to tell a lot of things on me. People used to write stories on me. People used to sing songs on me. People were mad about me, the looks that I have. But then suddenly, one day I realized by listening to your talks that the world is all falsified image. And I could not understand that. But later on, I saw that a person whom I admired, means people thought I was the most beautiful person, but I admired someone. And one fine day, that person died. And when he died, I went to the cremation ground. And in the cremation ground, what I saw is when the body was burnt. When the body was burnt, I didn't know where that beauty went. At the same time, I also saw a very poor person died and their relatives brought him. And they also cremated him, and I could not see the poor man anymore. And at the same time, another, the richest person of that place also died, and he was brought into the cremation ground. He was cremated. And now, when everyone left, I was still standing there trying to find out, where is that rich man? Where is that poor fellow? Where is that beauty? And I could not distinguish anything, because what came out from the earth has returned back. So now that day, I realized that I was so proud of the way I look, but someday just 4 people will carry me to this place and no one would even recognize where that beauty went. So in order to keep myself humble before the earth engulfs me, I smear it on myself every single day to keep a realization on that one fine day, this beauty will be gone, this prowess will be gone, this power will be gone. All that I think of mine will be gone. And from that day on, I have started meditating, thinking about this, that what is that will always be permanent? What is that will be beyond this body? What is that will be beyond this thought? What is that will be beyond all the worries that I carry along with me? What will be that all the achievements that gone by? What will happen to all these things? None will be staying with me. But what is the true self that will always go along with me? And that very day, I started the process that you said. And then Gautam Buddha smiled and said, now you are on the brink of achieving it. You have opened up a space for your own self. You are on the verge of realization. And then Gautam Buddha turned to the king. And the king, just by hearing all this, he was starting to think that this is the reality. And then he asks a question to Gautam Buddha. What is that? Means, what is he able to see that I was not able to see? Now at least I'm able to think what he said, but how can I see what he is seeing? Then Gautam Buddha says, then walk along with me. And then you have to understand how these things work. So in order to make these things very, very simple, even for a small little kid to understand, it can be told in this way, like the consciousness could be compared with a vast palace. बहुत बड़ा एक घर के जैसा देखा जा सकता है, with 4 rooms in it, 4 big rooms in it, and each room representing a different state of consciousness. The first room that we all know is known as the Jagrat, or the symbolized space of waking state that we all are in right now. The first room is the Jagrat, which is filled with activity, noise, and constant hustle bustle of life. In this room, people will be engrossed in the external world, and they will be guided by their senses, and they will continue to do their daily affair of work. So that's what we understand as the जागृत अवस्था. मतलब जब मैं जागृत रहता हूं तो मैं संसार के कार्य में लिप्त रहता हूं. Then comes the second room of swapna, or the dream state. It is a realm of illusion and imagination, where thoughts and desires play out in vivid dreams. जो स्वप्न है वो एक इमेजिनेशन और इल्यूजन जैसा है, और इसमें हमारे सपनों में हमारे जो डिजायर्स हैं, या तो हमारे जो चीजें हमने हमारे ऊपर दिन भर में जो हमारे ऊपर, it has created an impact on us. Anything that has created an impact on us throughout the day, that also comes as the dream. In this room, the boundaries of reality and fantasy are blurred. यहाँ पे क्या सत्य है, क्या मिथ्या है, ये समझ में नहीं आता है. We cannot differentiate. Then comes the third room, which is called as the Sushupti. Sushupti is the state of deep sleep. It is just like a place of profound stillness and rest, where the mind temporarily ceases its activity, offering solace and rejuvenation. That's what, when you go into the Sushupti state, into a deep sleep, you get the maximum benefit of rejuvenation in that space. And then comes the fourth, which is the Turiya, which transcend all the other 3. Turiya can be said in this way, like it is a state of pure consciousness, untouched by the fluctuations of waking, dream, and sleep states. It is the ultimate state of awareness where one realizes their true nature and the oneness of all existence. Now, while listening to this, the king realized, and looking at Gautam Buddha, he said, I had spent most of my life dwelling in the first three rooms, oscillating between the waking, dream, and deep sleep states. Now I want to enter to the fourth room and attain the highest state of consciousness. And slowly he was guided by Gautam Buddha. And he, through the guidance of Buddha, came into a space where the realization dawned on him. So it is a way back story. But what about the people that are now? So let us begin with the understanding of it first. कि अवस्थाएं कैसी कैसी हो सकती हैं. And when we divide into 15 parts of it, you will be able to have a clear understanding how a person looks at it and what a yogi experiences. At least by having a reference point, someday when you transcend that, you will also be able to realize that where you have reached. So this is like a theoretical thing that we will start with. But anyways, at the end, we will again do the same process that we did last Sunday. The Chidambara Rahasya, the first part of it, the simple meditation. The reason behind it is I believe like some of you must have practiced it over the week. Anyone? Great. Awesome. So you just try to practice it as much as possible, because that will help us if we are doing that into the next 6 steps. It will be an amazing space for you all. So do practice that. And today again at the end of the session, we will be doing that, because that clearly transcends you from a waking state to a space of dreaming kind of thing, whether I'm able to see, hear it or not, whether I'm awake or not, that's where you are dreaming kind of thing. Then you will absolutely merge into that space for some time and you will experience all the 3 states as well as the 4th. So for now, let us begin with the understanding part. As per the Shiva Sutras or the Malini Vijaya Tantra, Malini Vijaya Tantra speaks more about these 4 states of consciousness. Shiva Sutras don't speak much about it, but they have just indicated something. But as the Malini Vijaya Tantra has spoken elaborately about that, we will take it as a reference point and talk on these things. Is it okay? So now at least you have a reference point from Tantras where they have defined all these things in a most amazing way. So that in order to start, we will walk from the Turiya state first. Let's understand what Turiya is. Turiya is a space or a state which is marked by the union of the individual consciousness with the I consciousness of Shiva. That means my individual consciousness, when it connects with the consciousness of the universal consciousness or the Shiva consciousness, at that space of combining is called as Turiya. Turiya appears like a thread of experience and ecstasy going through all 3 states, because Turiya is something that is present all through. of waking, dream, and deep sleep. So Turiya is an unchanging witness of all that changes that happens through all the 3 steps of your consciousness. Now, we will slowly understand what is awaking state, what is sleep state, and what is the Sushupti state. In awake state, all our senses, mind, buddhi, and all those things, they keep on working. In dream state, mind and prana operate. Awake state में मन और बुद्धि कार्यरत होता है. और जब हम we go into the next step of dream state, जब स्वप्न देख रहे हैं तब आपका मन और प्राण कार्यरत होते हैं, the mind and the prana. In deep sleep, जब गहरे नींद में उतर जाते हो, only our prana and breath operates. सिर्फ आपका प्राण जो है वो चलता रहता है और सांसें चलती रहती है. So they are available. But in the Turiya state, only entity that operates is the witness. ना सांस चलती है, ना ही कोई सांस ले रहा है. It's a space where you just simply become an observer who is able to see that there is something called as prana going on, there is something called as an breath going on, there is something called as an world going on, but you are just an absolute observer of it. So it is available throughout the space, but all that we need to do is to bring it forth. So Turiya can also be said in this way as the Prakasha, Vimarsha, and the Sakshi Chaitanya. So here on we will be discussing more about what is the awake state. There is a huge difference between the waking up state and awakened state. We all wake up, but how many of us awake? हम जाग तो जाते हैं, लेकिन जागृत हैं क्या? So that's where the differentiation happens between, I'm just taking this word as a yogi, so because it is a small, short word that would be easily be realized with a person like who has realized in this world. So how he sees and how we see, for him, what it looks like and what are the terms that have been used for in the Tantra Shastras. So we'll be talking about that now. So when it is said like when you are awake, knowledge is obtained in awakened state. Means when you are awake, you can get the knowledge. For example, right now, if you fall asleep and I keep on speaking, will you grasp anything? That means your consciousness should be available right now towards this world, and then you accumulate the knowledge within you. Now do you realize why at times it is said the world is a classroom where you have come here to experience and learn? Have you heard this? कई सारे जगह पे ये कहा जाता है कि जो संसार है ये एक ऐसा स्थल है जहां पे आप अपने experiences करते हो and you learn something it. And when you learn more and more of it, you transcend that. I have seen like people getting worried, stating that I have done something wrong. Anyone has done anything wrong in their lives? Must have, right? But now now some people are not raising their hand, they think like, oh, too much, not one. That's okay. But let me help you to transcend that part also. Because I see many people living with a regret. And when they live with that regret, they are not able to even walk on the path of spirituality further. Regret क्या होता है? Regret ये होता है कि I have done this thing wrong, I have done that thing wrong, I have done that thing wrong. That's okay. You see, humans are a bundle of errors. You know what the best part of humans is? The God has created you so that you can do errors. Now, very tough statement that I said. People might just jump on over and just throw some virtual tomatoes on me. But understand it fully, then only you will realize what I'm saying. I said God created humans so that you can do errors, learn from them, and transcend. Because a dog will never know what wrong he did. A cat won't understand that part. A tree will never realize it. But as a human, you know what your errors are. So what is the best part of being human? That you can do errors and you can learn from them and you can transcend. That's what your consciousness is all about. So when you know what is the only difference between a Pashu and a person who is a Buddha? A Pashu वो होता है जो गलती करता है, समझ नहीं पाता. It does not work on it, does not knows it, and just keeps on doing the same thing again and again. वो पाश में है, बंधा हुआ है, पशु है. What is a person who is awakened, realized? He also does errors. But what he does is never repeats it. So do new errors, no problem with that. But don't repeat your old ones. But at the same time, make sure you learn and you transcend it so that never ever you do it again. So God made humans to do errors, realize and transcend. So again, coming back to the topic. So when you are awake, you can obtain knowledge. How do you take the knowledge? Through the senses. जो हमारे कर्मेंद्रिया या ज्ञानेंद्रियाज हैं, उसके हेल्प से आप ज्ञान अर्जित करते हो. The senses are kind of the pathways or doorways through which the individual obtains the knowledge of the external world in the awake state. And that is why when we are awake right now, let's say I take something and I just show it I just show my hand on the screen. Now everybody can see the hand on the screen, right? That means when you are awake, your consciousness is towards the outside and it is connected to the outer world or the object. Now understand the concept of subject and object. Here you are the subject and whatever you are seeing is an object. This is very clear to everyone. Because you are there, because the subject is there, the object is appearing. आप हो इसलिए वो चीजें दिखाई दे रही है. अगर आप नहीं हो, it is not there. So the subject, what it is doing is, the subject is looking at the object. So now what is the most amazing thing? All of you, when you are looking at the screen, can you see my hand or not? Everyone. You can see my hand. Some people are busy taking photos. Okay. So when you see my hand out there, everyone is able to see my hand because we are all in a state called as a wakeful state. Because we are all connected to the external thing. The subject is connected to the object out there. That's why it looks same to every one of us. Might be slightly different, but all that we see is a hand. Yes. Now, but if you are in a dream, and I just keep the hand on the screen, would you ever see that hand? Can you see the difference here? In a wakeful state, the consciousness is external and almost all of us see the object as the object only. But that does not happen in a dream state. So here we distinguish slowly how these things are different from each other. Make sense now? So dhire dhire we'll take the steps. So the object appear same to all of us. If I show an apple on the screen, you will say, yeah, that's an apple. If I bring an orange, you say, okay, that's an orange. Might be different names, but you all know that it's a fruit or something, whatever I'm holding in my hand. So that means the object appears same to all of us when our consciousness is in a state of wakefulness. Then comes the Swapna Vikalpaha. Swapna Vikalpaha means a space from where you are into deep sleep and dreaming. When you are dreaming, now this separation of thing happens. The thought process or the thought waves in the mind, when the person is not in contact with the external world, or rather, if to put forth it in an easier way, in this state of dream, there is no sensory reaction or reach to the external world, because the generation of the thoughts and waves are happening only within you, in your mind, without any external sensory input. Now let's understand this. Now we are all sitting here awake. I just bring something in front of you. You see that it brings a thought in your mind. आपके सामने एक विचार लेके आता है. Just for example, अगर आप वहीं पे हो अभी, like you look around your things, आप अपने घर के चारों तरफ देखो, और जैसे जैसे आप एक चीज को देखोगे वो अपना उसके बारे में बताना शुरू करता है. Yes or no? The moment I look at the table, this says, oh, I am a table. When I look at the mouse of that laptop or the computer out there, what I see, oh, that's a mouse there. When I look at certain things, oh, that's a clock, oh, that's a miniature, oh, that's a book, that's a cloth. Can you see there is an input that is coming from the outer side? Bahya jagat se input aata hai when you are awake. But in your dream, is there any input from the outer world? No, because you are not connected with the outer world in that moment. जब आप स्वप्न अवस्था में होते हो, then what happens? The subject is no more connected to the object of the outer world, but it is connected with the object of the inner world. What is the object of inner world? Object of inner world is nothing else but the experiences that I had in the wakeful state. Now those experiences are coming to me as a memory, as a thinking process, or just an impact that it has had on me throughout the day. Now I'm not seeing the same apple that I saw in the morning outside, but now in my dream I'm seeing an apple. Might be a much more perfected one. But does it has any reference to the outer world at that time? No. So the first wake state is the subject is connected to the outer world of object, but in dream state, the subject is connected with the internal object of अपने अंदर के जो है उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ है. So that is called as the dream state. And dream state कुछ qualities भी हैं. In dream state, sensory reach बाहरी जगत के लिए नहीं होता है. It is all due to the generation of कैसे होता है. How do I dream? The dream is a generation of thought waves of the mind without any external sensory input, and only with a reference point in the form of experience or memory. Then comes the Sushupti, or absolute deep sleep. Now here, another amazing thing happens. When you are into deep sleep, is there any connection of the subject with the object of the outer world? No. Is there any connect of the subject with the inner world? No. It is a space where it is just hanging in between, where the subject is there, but it is not connecting neither with the outer world nor with the inner world. Subject is there. Now you can ask me, how do I know that the subject was there? There's a very simple answer. Let's say you went to a sleep for a deep sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, you say, wow, I had a great sleep tonight. Now, how did you know that you had a great sleep? If the observer was not there, you see, it is not connected to the external or the internal world. All that it did is, oh, he observed that the body is sleeping. It slept for a long time. It slept well tonight. That's how you realize that there is a third state of Shushupti. Now there is another state which is transcending all this, where even that subject vanishes. Now, how can the subject vanish? This is a state to be thought of. ये विचार करने योग्य है. Because can you see, when I say the first three, you understood. मैं जो पहले तीन के बारे में बताता हूँ, आपको easily समझ में आ जाता. You know why you are able to understand? Because that's what you are experiencing on a daily basis. But when I say the subject itself will vanish, it is not in our memory. I have not learned that from an object outside, and not have a reference point within me also. So when I don't have any reference point, now I'm wondering what Turiya might be, what Samadhi might be, what is that space where I will not be there anymore. Because all the things that I refer to, the reference point is me. ये कौन सी स्थिति होगी जहां पे मैं नहीं रहूंगा? This is the state that we will again go and learn more about it. Till now, is it clear? I'm just going at a very slow pace so that everybody understands that. It's clear, right? Okay. तो अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. अब लेते हैं. There are certain sutras that has been mentioned. As I said, few references from the Shiva Sutras and few references from the Malini Vijaya Tantra. The first state that we all understand now. Let us bifurcate it into 4 more divisions. उसको 4 भाग में विभक्त करके देखेंगे. और इसी के साथ ही साथ I will start talking that what looks as a waking state for a normal human being, what is it called and how the yogi sees it. एक योगी के आंखों से ये किस भांति दिखाई देता है. So the first state is the Jagrat Avastha, the place that we are all in right now. I believe I'm true in saying that. I can talk about that, about the people, those who are on my screen, but I don't know anything about the person whose screens are off. So I cannot say they are in the awake state, or they are already entered into the Turiya state, or they are just in the Sushupti, oscillating between sleep and awakefulness. So that's their way. Okay, so let's continue. Okay. So Padma ji kehte awake. Okay, chalo. Thank you. So now the first state that we talk about is again coming back to the state of awakefulness, जो जागृत अवस्था होती है. In this, again, I will just tell a reference point again, and we will connect it with the yogic view also. The first state में we are awake to all that is happening around us. जो कुछ भी हमारे चारों तरफ घटित होता है, उसके प्रति हम जागृत हैं. But for a yogi, it is a state of abuddha, meaning a state of unawakenedness from the spiritual sense. जो हमें जागृत अवस्था लगता है एक योगी के लिए, वो बिल्कुल it's like a unrealized state, अबुद्धा, मतलब जो बुद्धत्व को प्राप्त नहीं हुआ. तो योगी के लिए क्यों? Why is it so? Because the yogi knows that what all I see, it's not real. But for us, this is the reality. Yes or no? Now I run outside, I'm feeling hungry, I grab an apple, I eat it, my hunger is satiated. For me, it is the reality. Yes or no? लेकिन एक योगी जब ये सारे चीजों को देखता है संसार के, especially when I look at my name, my fame, my degrees, my accumulations that I have done over this world, I think like this is the real thing that I want throughout my life. But for a yogi, what he sees is it is going to go away someday. And for him, it is all ajnanata, abuddha. Means you have not realized yet. You think you are awake, but of no use. You are only awake to accumulate. That's it. जब जागते हैं तो क्या करते हैं सोचो एक बार. The state that we think ourselves to be that, अच्छा हम जाग गए सुबह. अच्छा जाग के क्या किए आज? Have you ever sat and thought that what have I done today? And all that you will realize is either you were busy accumulating or keeping what you had, safeguarding it, or crying on what you have lost, or waiting for something to gain. Now tell me, if for a moment also, for a moment, if you look at the movement of the worldly things, जिसे क्षण भंगुरता कहते हैं, means momentary things that are appearing and disappearing in front of us. When you realize that part and look at it, even this body that I look at, might be down the line 50 years, 60 years, 70 years, will this be there? But yet, we spend so much of time to keep it at its best. Nothing wrong in that. You have been given a body, so you take care of it. That's it. But are you taking care with a possession of it, with an obsession towards it, or you are just doing it because you have to do it? You are free from that. So the moment you see that this body has been given to me, I am not the body. There's the difference appears between a yogi and a normal human being. When you are busy accumulating the things throughout the day, for today, tomorrow, day after, I don't know, 7 generations. When you're busy doing that, you are in a state of abuddha, although you think you are awake. Because the yogi sees all these things are like going to pass, and he sees a different way of it. Just like you all people enter into that space when you are being told all these things. जब हम इस चीजों के बारे में बात करते हैं, when we talk about the realities of life, for a momentary basis, you also agree to that yes, this is what I have seen, all these things changing. आप भी एक योगी के आंखों के दृष्टिकोण से देख पाते हो. You also start seeing it from a perspective of an yogi, but it does not last long. That's why the yogi says, ये अबुद्ध है. बुद्ध बन सकता है, लेकिन अभी उसके आगे अ लगा हुआ है. It's not yet a Buddha. Make sense? So why do you wake up? See, I said when you wake up, you have an option to get the wisdom also. And at the same time, there is also a space available where you can still remain a Buddha, who will never realize the Gyan, the true knowledge of it. It's not a problem for all these days if you have been waking up just to accumulate. मैंने क्या कहा? God has made humans to do errors. Learn from them, transcend that. That means if all these years, if you have been doing this error, what you do, small momentary basis, you just look at all that, at least while you go to sleep, before you go to sleep, just look around all the things. And you said, today I accumulated all this. For how long? Ask this question once. And then you will realize in a moment, it just move you into another space. That I have been crying throughout the day for all these things. I have been waiting for all these things. I have done all these things. I have worked hard to gain this. Okay. How long are they going to stay with me? You see, if this realization dawns on us, all the pain that we go through, especially with relationships, what will happen? The momentary, that very moment you will be detached. The worries that people have done wrong to you, the worries that things did not happen. You see, in that moment, you will be at peace with your own self. आप अपने आप के साथ शांत हो जाओगे. शांति से बैठ पाओगे कब से कब. why I want you to do before going to sleep? Because कई सारे लोगों को रात में नींद इसीलिए नहीं आती, because they are too much worried. Too much of worried about the things that will not be there with them next year, next 10 years, next 20 years, next 50 years, next 100 years. होगा क्या? आप ही नहीं होगे. So that's why the yogi calls it a space of abuddha. So you are only awakened through the senses that you touch, you feel, you experience. That's what you call as the awakened state. This can be called as the Jagrat avastha, means awake state. What is awake state? Here the objective aspect, जिसे तंत्र में या तो even in Sanskrit they are called as the prameya, is the object the thing that I see outside, it is called as the prameya. I am the knower of the prameya and I am called the pramata. You need not even remember these names. अगर आप याद नहीं रहे तो भी don't worry. I am just giving you so that when later on we come into other parts of understanding the Siva Sutras, there it would be very easy for us to understand, because you know these words, these meanings of these words. So the thing that I see outside, that is called as the prameya. I, the knower, is the pramata. So here we are awake to the world happenings, and this state is called as the Jagrat. But for the yogi, it is a abuddha state. Then comes the second state of awakening. I mean, second state of awakening. Awakening is a very dangerous word. I don't know. I don't have any other word to tell. Wakefulness would be a better word. The second stage of wakefulness. The second stage of wakefulness, where you have transcended a little bit further ahead of it. उसे थोड़ा ऊपर उठ जाते. क्या होता है? In this state, it is called as the Jagrit Swapna, or dreaming in a wakeful state. आप बोलोगे, what is this dreaming in wakeful state? First one is you are completely aware of the objects outside. The second, Jagrit Swapna Avastha. आपने खाली स्वप्न अवस्था सुना था, अब ये जागृत स्वप्न अवस्था क्या होता है? You see some people, लोग कहते हैं ना sleepwalking kind of thing. It's not exactly that. I'll give you a much better answer to that. So here what happens is the object recedes to the background and the consciousness and the pramana comes to the forefront of consciousness. Now let me answer you in a very simple way. Object, जो object को मैं देख रहा था, that object takes a back seat. वो पीछे चला जाता है. आगे क्या आता है? ज्ञान आगे आ जाता है. When that knowledge comes in front of us, now I am not bound to this particular thing. Object is there, but now my attention has moved from the object to the knowledge about the object, that this will go away someday. So you are seeing the things, but you are seeing it with a different perspective. Not from a perspective of attachment, but a perspective of automated detachment to that thing. What does the yogi call this? The yogi calls this as the Buddha. You see, Gautam Buddha also, you can take that example of him. He was a king. He had all the things. But what happened to him? The way he looked at the things changed, and everything changed for him. Similarly, when you are looking at the object, but that while I'm awake, that's where you see the yogi is walking in the same world where you are walking. Might be eating the same food that you are eating, yet he is seeing the things in a very different way. Now are you understanding how he must be watching the things? He's seeing the same world, but he is seeing the world is taken aback and the knowledge about the world is appearing in front. वो ज्ञान सामने आ जाता है. तब उस शक्ति को क्या कहते हो? वो बुद्धत्व की शक्ति है. The yogi calls it as the state of Buddha. Now, also, for the yogi, this is the first step of अवेकनिंग, इसका पहला पद होता है. Now comes the another state, the third state of जागृत अवस्था, जिसे कहते हैं जागृत सुषुप्ति. It is like you are in deep sleep in an awake state. For the yogi, this awake state is that the subject is asleep to the object. Now the subject is asleep to the object. कैसे हो सकता है? How can it happen? Okay, so let's understand how it can happen. Let's take a practical example for all of us. Has it ever happened to you that you are looking at a certain thing and you have forgotten that you are looking? Many times it happens awkward because you're not thinking anything, you're just looking at somebody and suddenly they start looking at you, say, why are you staring at me? But at that time you're not staring, you are just lost. You're not there anymore. This is not, Aditi, the right word won't be absent mind here. It is not absent mind. The mind is there, but the mind has receded. It is not functioning anything in that. वो कोई means, what do you say? When I look at a certain thing, it gives a name and a meaning to that, right? But there it is looking, but it is not creating any meaning. The mind is there, but it is not making any meaning. When it is not making any meaning, immersed, yes, right, Alibaji. So you are completely immersed into that. You don't even know, I'm just looking at the wall and I don't know why I'm looking at the wall. Then suddenly you come back and you say, अरे क्या कर रहा था मैं? Right, Rajaji, Tandra Avastha. ये क्या कर रहा था मैं? Why am I looking at this? कुछ भी नहीं है, वो क्या देख रहा था मैं? So this is a space of you are awake and yet you are dreaming. You are in a Shushupti state where the mind has oscillating, means it has gone from creating meanings to just being there. What does the yogi calls this? The yogi calls this state as a prabuddha. Rather, from a yogic standpoint, what exactly happens? For us, I don't know. But for a yogi, he knows and oscillates or transcends its mind. Means, एक ऐसी अवस्था में चला जाता है जहां उसकी बुद्धि वो जजमेंट देना बंद कर देती है, मीनिंग्स लगाना बंद कर देती है. It's just like a state of, I'm just here, I'm just looking, but I'm not making any sense to that. I don't want a sense from it. I'm not making any sense to it. He is a state of absolute unconditional detachment. We are going into that state. You see, as I said, no, we go into that state, but you are going into that state unknowingly. But a yogi has learned how to do that. Just like you people have learned certain steps of meditation, certain ways of japa, certain ways of going into that. Now, did you realize, like at times people say that I am just sitting in the room, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just looking at there and I'm just there. But suddenly I wake up, kya kar raha hu? So can you see here, the day you do it absolute consciously, this should be a state where the yogi calls it as the prabuddha, means the next level of Buddha, prabuddha state. You are awake, walking into this world, the knowledge is there, everything is there, yet now you are not even utilizing that knowledge. आप उस ज्ञान से भी मुक्त हो जाते हो. The knowledge of knowing, you are free from that. And that state, because in that state you don't need that knowledge anymore. For example, I will tell you one funny thing that I was talking yesterday to someone and I said, उसने कहा कि no, वो मूर्ख आदमी है एकदम, अज्ञानी है. मैंने कहा कि very well said, अज्ञानी है, but what do you call him as अज्ञानी? नहीं, वो पढ़ाई लिखाई नहीं किया कुछ. He has not studied anything and all those things. I said, very good. अज्ञानी तेरे नजर से है. He said, अज्ञानी from your perspective. He said, then what's your perspective? I said, in my perspective, is absolutely fine. He said, what do you mean? I said, "Tu agyani कहता है उसे." But when I look at it, I see he's taking breath. I see he digests his food on his own. I see he is growing. I see he is changing. When you say अज्ञानता, अज्ञानता बाह्य जगत की अज्ञानता के बारे में बात करता है. उसका अंतर जगत का जो ज्ञान है वो संपूर्ण रूप से चालित है. It is completely working the way it has to. Yes or no? And that's the way you should look at it. This is where it is. मैंने कहा ना कि एक योगिक पर्सपेक्टिव से अगर आप चीजों को देखोगे, जो अज्ञानी दिखे दुनिया के लिए, like it's looking as an illiterate person to all of us out the world because he has not gone to school, might not have studied. But when I look at him, his physical activity is happening on its own. उसके अंदर वो ज्ञान है. The same ज्ञान that is there within you is also there within him. Yes or no? So this is the space where you transcend of seeing the things in a very different ways. तो ये स्थिति होती है प्रबुद्ध की. A well awakened state means consciously I entered into that space where I am free of everything, even the free of the knowledge. ना ज्ञान ना विस्तार, सारे चीजों से मुक्त. इसीलिए स्थिति को प्रबुद्ध स्टेट कहते हैं. Then comes the fourth, the Jagrit Turiya Avastha. Turiya consciousness in awake state. There is the absolute dominance of consciousness. In this state, जिसे सुप्रबुद्ध कहते हैं, that is a perfectly awakened state. What is this perfectly awakened state? The perfectly awakened state is when I am seeing that, I gave an example right now. Na? That person said he's illiterate. I say, no, he's not illiterate. What I see is his body is functioning perfectly. I saw that there is something beyond that what it cannot be seen. But उसके परे जो सुप्रबुद्ध का जो स्थिति होता है, उसमें क्या दिखाई देता है जनता? He will not see that he is illiterate. He will not even see that he is breathing, growing, changing. All that he will see is Shiva. Means the difference between this person asking the question and that object in front of you and this person being here all vanishes. All that you see is, जैसे हम कहते ना, हरि से मिलने हरि चले, हरि बैठे हरि पास, हरि जो मिले हरि से, हरि भयो उदास. So all Hari together. So all that you see, all that you look is all Shiva. Shiva seeing, Shiva asking, Shiva dancing. All that you see is the absolute pure bliss of the divine. How does that, like we ask no people like, how can that person be so happy? A yogi sitting, उसके शायद पास कीमती कपड़े नहीं है. He doesn't have a wealthy cloth, neither a lavish food to eat, neither an amazing house to live. Yet he is happy. What is the reason? He is stopped differentiating all the things, and all that all see is all Shiva. So when you reach out to that space, just like now, in a moment, when you start just listening to that, and now look at all the things around you, and just look at it with one perspective. Shiva, 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 Shiva. And now the more and more you say that and you look at all those things, you will see a wave of absolute bliss and ecstasy will appear within you. Why? That is why it is called as the Prabuddha state. We can do that with consciousness. At times, it happens unconsciously. I don't know why I am happy today. हुआ है किसी के साथ? मतलब कुछ भी नहीं हुआ. You woke up in the morning and you are jumping around in the house and people are worried why you are jumping. And then ask you, why are you laughing? Why are you jumping around? क्या हो गया तुझे? क्या मिल गया? You say, I don't know. And that's a very funny state, right? And most amazing people, if you really want to irritate people, you want to do is, you should laugh and jump around in the house. That's it. Nothing irritates people more than that. तो कहते ना आपकी खुशी किसी देखी नहीं जाती. So here in this space, all that you look at, all that you see is, I don't see the door anymore. I don't see even though it appears as a switch, it appears as a table to me, all that I will only try to see is Shiva dancing in it. So that state, you are awake and yet you are in the bliss of the divine. A yogi is in that space, and that's why it is called as the Suprabuddha. So it is not just one state. Can you see, when we thought like Buddhatva is the maximum in that culture of Malini Vijaya Tantra, or in the tantric ways or the yogic ways, it has transcended 2 more steps. Okay. So that is only about the waking state. So now only covered only how much? Only 4 states have been covered. Now we will go to the next step. The next step, or the Swapna state, or the substates of it. Now the substates of the Swapnavastha ke uske niche kitne tarike ke aa sakte? There would be 4. Now let us understand the dream world. हम अपने सपनों की दुनिया को समझते हैं. This particular world or universe that we call as the dreaming world, it is very, very typical and only available to you. आपके स्वप्न के अंदर मैं जा सकता हूं क्या? आप स्वप्न में क्या देख रहे हो मैं कह सकता हूं क्या? No, it is absolutely a individualized, personalized, customized world of your own. This outer world might be customized and personalized by different people, but your dream world is your absolute pure trademark on it. आपके स्वप्न कोई देख नहीं सकता, आपके जैसा कोई सोच नहीं सकता. This is your inner world, right? So this universe or this world, this is created through the thought waves of, or called as the vikalpas. This state from the yogic standpoint is also known as the abhaya state. Abhaya here does not mean that you are free of fears, because in that case, you also see certain dreams where there are horrific. You just jump out of the bed terrified. So here abhay means a different perspective from the yogic culture. It means that there is no exterior in this dream universe. Or rather, the particular word that here you should understand is, instead of abhaya, it should be known as abahya. Abahya means that is not from outside. Bahar. Bahya matlab bahar. Abahya means that is not from the outside world. So this word would be much more prominent or easier for us to understand. So it would be called as abahya. When in this space, what happens is there is no external connection in my dream universe. It is just a propagation of thought that has happened within me, and that waves that it creates the dream. And there is no connection between the external world and the world of dreams. It is all confined, all exclusive to the dreamer. जैसे आपके सपने कोई और देख नहीं सकता, समझ नहीं सकता. Now if we have understood the dream, let us understand the first step of dream. That is called as the swapna jagrat. Now हमने जागृत स्वप्न देखा था, अब आ गए हैं स्वप्न जागृत में. स्वप्न जागृत में क्या होता है? This state in dream, it is called as the gatagata, means the coming and going of the appearance and disappearance of the things. For all of us, it is very common. Swapna Jagrat kise aata hai? We all know, now we are awake. I know I dreamt last night. जब हम जागते हैं तो हमको याद आता है कि नहीं, अच्छा मैंने ये सपना देखा था. I remember this part of it. Might be I don't remember the entire dream, but there is a space where I remember certain things. तो क्या हो जाता है, गतागत है, मीन्स इट इज कमिंग एंड गोइंग. That's why I call it a dream state. Why I call this a reality? Because every single day I have to sit by the same person's side. हम एक ही इंसान के साथ रहते हैं, एक ही इंसान के पास कार्यरत होते हैं. We go to a particular office, we do a certain thing. That's why we call it, it is continuously happening in the same way. That's why I call this as a reality, and that is coming and going and changing every day. I call it as a dream. Yes? Now just think of, if you dream the same dream every night, and if you dream that the same people every day, will you be able to differentiate between both? Then आपको, you will reach to that space, जनक राजा का स्थिति में, ये सच या वो सच, which is true, this truth or that truth. For some time ago I was there, and I was there with my kid and everything, and now here I'm also with the wife, kid and everything. So this truth or that truth? So that would be a space of when you are awake, and yet means you are dreaming and you are still awake, like what's happening now. You're not able to differentiate between those two. So this is called as the gatagata, coming and going. Here the dream world is very vivid, मतलब बहुत clear के साथ आप सपना देखते हो. For example, certain days you see a dream and it is very clear to you. You can say it word by word what you saw. Why? You have gone through that. When you saw a dream, and you can narrate the dream as a story, as if everything is crystal clear in front of you. That means you were completely awake in your dream. In the sense, here the awakening state means as you are completely awake right now into the world, आप सांसारिक चीजों में जुड़े हुए हो, सांसारिक चीजों को देख पा रहे हो, उस समय आप संसार से बिल्कुल कट हो गए, लेकिन आप अपने स्वप्न के संसार में जुड़ गए. यू आर एब्सोल्युटली अवेक. आपको वहां याद भी नहीं है कि आप सो रहे हो. You don't even know that you are sleeping. You are so engrossed in that dream. Right? कब जागते हो? जब पैर फिसलता है. And suddenly I fell down from the mountain. Right? So that is the first state of it, which is called as the swapna jagrit. Means I completely awoke in the dream. I was absolutely the dream in that time. Now comes the second, which is called as the swapna dream, और स्वप्न अवस्था, जिसे हम कहते हैं कि ड्रीम विद इन ए ड्रीम, और जिसको सुविक्षिप्त कहा जाता है योगिक टर्म में. ड्रीम विद इन ड्रीम. कुछ लोग बहुत महान होते हैं, सपने में भी सपना देख लेते हैं. जैसे हम भी कभी कभी महानता का कार्य करते हुए एक कहानी के अंदर और एक कहानी बोल देते हैं, मतलब कहानी में कहानी. वैसे ही सपने में सपना देखना, ये सब महानुभाव होते हैं. मतलब they are great architects of dreams. So they see dreams within dreams. Means they see that in the dream they went to sleep and there they are dreaming. समझ में आ रहा है? जिसने किया होगा उसे पता होगा. और कमलेंद्र जी हाथ उठा रहे, बोलते ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैंने तो I saw myself going to sleep in my dream, and then I saw a dream. Yeah, like dream state. There is a movie, right? Leonardo DiCaprio, I believe, right? What is that? Inception. I believe the name must be Inception, or I'm not able to recall that. That's what exactly happens. He's dreaming within dream and dreaming within that dream and dreaming. I don't know how many dreams he was dreaming in that one dream. Dream within dream, within dream, within dream, within dream. That's how it was going on. I said, oh, so they have taken all the places from here. Oh, okay, Sunilji, thank you. Inception. Okay, so I was right in that word. So in this space, what you are doing, you are seeing a dream within the dream. But स्वप्न में और एक चीज घटता है. What happens? Here, the first dream that you are seeing, it is as a sequence to it. Means, I am seeing that I am going to school. सोचो, Just think of you are dreaming that you are going to school. What happens? You reach out the school, then you saw your teacher is standing, then you go to the classroom, you study, the bell rings, you have your lunch. ये एक sequence में है. But स्वप्न में क्या होता है? You saw that you are going to the school, the very next moment you are in a zoo. The very next moment you see you are flying. The very next moment you see somebody is beating you up. The very next moment you are God. The very next moment you say you are falling from a mountain. You see, there is no connection in any of these things. There is no sequence to that. Why? Dream mein dream dekh rahe ho. One dream is showing you as a mountain, the other dream is showing you as the sun, the next dream is showing you as the school, the next dream. Here, it will happen to you that you will not remember anything of that dream. When you wake up, you say, I saw the dream, but I don't know what I was seeing. What does that mean? It was all random going here and there. There is a chaos. There is no sequence to that. So, इसे हम स्वप्न अवस्था कहते हैं. So, dreaming within the dream, which is called as the Shuvikshipta. Vikshipta means distracted and scattered and chaotic and disordered. Then comes the another state, which is the third state of Swapna Shushupti. It is also known as Samagata, meaning the dream of events and objects put together well and connected with each other. सारे चीजें एकदम alignment में आ गए. Means, here in this space, when you are sleeping and what you are seeing is not just random thoughts. You are not just saying random things. Here, a very, very typical things happen. Here, you start gaining the knowledge of beyond the world. How many times it has happened to you that you were in a deep trouble, you didn't know any way out, you just went to sleep. And in your sleep, some answer appeared. कुछ रास्ते बता दिए जाते हैं, कुछ मार्ग बता दिया जाता है, कुछ शब्द ऐसे सुनाई देते हैं. And when you come out of that dream state, you know what to do. You have found a solution. Not from the external world, from your inner world, the world of your dreams. Happened. So when you find this space where you are not just thinking of any random thing, you are absolutely pinpoint focused, and in your dream, you are in a Sushupti state. Here, you get the answers for your problems to be dealt in the outer world. That space is called as the third one, or the Swapna Shushupti. It is called as the Samagata. Then comes the fourth. The fourth is the Swapna Turiya state. Now, dreaming and in Turiya state. This is a space where there is a complete control or hold on the self-consciousness, self-awareness, self-knowledge. So here, the dreamer knows he is dreaming. This is called as the Samahita Sthiti, meaning that the dreamer is put together or integrated. Here, what is happening is, I am dreaming, but I know I am dreaming. You are conscious about that. This must have also happened to you. One fine night, you are seeing, you are lying on the bed, the dream is coming, you are seeing the dream from one eye, and yet at the other side, you know that ये पूरा सपना चल रहा है. It's all dream going on. But I know, but why I'm not sleeping? That's the question that you ask. मतलब ये सब तो मैं देख रहा हूँ. I'm able to see all this dream continuing, but why I'm not sleeping? Because you are awake. Awake in a very, very higher dimension. Not to this world. Because that inner world is not seen through the physical eyes. There, you are able to see it from a higher dimension. That you see that someone is dreaming. You are able to know that this body is lying down. But I am not sleeping. Who is that I? That space is a space, even though the body is sleeping, the mind is at rest, yet you know you are awake. That is the one point where you will realize that, I am not attached to any of these things. And that's why it is called as the Swapna Turiya Sthiti. According to the yogis, the yogic culture, it can be said in this way that all this state of swapna, these all four states of swapna, swapna jagrat, swapna susupti, or swapna turiya, all these four states, the yogis call all these four states as the padastha. Padastha means that he stands on his feet, abides in his own self in all these conditions. Matlab, he is absolutely aware that what is happening, what is coming and going, what is subhikshipta, what is samagata, what is sushamitahita, all the four phases, he calls it as one, as the padastha state. For the jnani who has awakened, for them all these four states come under the term, एक नाम के द्वारा जाना जाता है जिसको कहते हैं व्याप्ति और pervasion, meaning the experience is a pervasion of his being in the four dream states. Matlab, all the dream that it is seeing, it is absolutely aware what is happening. You remember the same Turiya state, Swapna Turiya state जो होता है, एक योगी अपने सपने को उस भांति से देखता है, where it sees the dream yet awake. Now you understood how the yogi might be seeing a dream. The first we understood how he must be seeing the wakeful state. Now we understood how he should be seeing a dream. That means he also dreams, yet not connected with the dream. The body is sleeping, the mind is sleeping, yet the dream is going on, yet the yogi is awake, conscious. And you all have experienced that. And you thought yourself that you are of no use. And you thought that you are good for nothing. At least you have reached to this space. Makes sense now? The only thing that is happening is, yet it is happening randomly, not by choice, right? So with the deepening of your practices, that random events will come into the control of the consciousness as well. There you will have absolute mastery on all those things. And whenever you want to see a dream as a dream, it would be as if you choosing to switch on the TV and watch a dream. Can be called as a self-entertainment kind of thing. I don't want to see, don't want to go anywhere. I will just sit here, close my eyes and visit wherever I want to visit. Just like Chidvilas is sitting and still thinking of that temple. Can I really go there without this physical body and still experience? Absolutely. Without visiting physically also, you visit so many places. So similarly, you have to understand how are you doing it. Here you are utilizing your imagination power. But if you awake that consciousness to the higher dimension, the next level, how it will happen? It will happen. So don't worry. There you will not be imagining, you will see yourself standing there. ये भी हुआ होगा आपके साथ. There might be certain places. ऐसे जगह हैं, when you just think of your, like उस जगह के बारे में सोचते हो और आप ये भूल जाते हो कि आप सोच रहे हो, you see yourself standing there. Happened to anyone? हुआ है ना? So you have also gone to that state. So you should be labeled a yogi at least by nameplates. एक नया nameplate बनाओ, लिख दो उसके सामने yogi. So now coming to the all this state come under the vyapti. Now comes the shushupti. Shushupti state has 4 phases. Now again 4 phases of Sushupti. We have time, right? Because abhi और 7 बाकी है. We have only completed 8, 7 more to go. Shall I speed up? I can. But then what will happen is आधा योगी रह जाएगा. The yogi will be half yogi with half knowledge. So let me continue as fast as I can with the same kind of understanding that I can give. Okay. So now comes here in the Sushupti state, you go from a void to an experience. It's just like the moon waxing and waning. मतलब बनता है बिगड़ जाता है, तैयार होता है चला जाता है. It's waxing and waning. आ रहा है जा रहा है. That's also the same kind of thing. Here you go from a void. For a moment you are absolutely still. You are not seeing any dream. Then suddenly you go into a dream. Then again you are away from the dream. Then again you go into. ऐसा हुआ है किसी के साथ? You are seeing a dream. Suddenly the dream ceases. Then you don't know what happened. After some time you start seeing another dream. So ये सुषुप्ति की अवस्था है. मतलब वो आ रहा है जा रहा है. It's coming and going as well. A space of void means a space where nothing is existing. A space of void, and in between that the dreams are jumping. इसीलिए सुषुप्ति का अवस्था है. The experience, when I say that the void here, the void I would like to mean is here in this state, you are in the state of bliss. And the world of I consciousness becomes Shiva. क्या होता है इस अवस्था में? इस अवस्था में I am no more there. The world is no more there. The internal world is no more there. Nothing remains. But as it is coming and going, वो क्षण क्षण के लिए आते जाता है. इसीलिए मैं उसे सुषुप्ति अवस्था कहता हूं. लेकिन उस अवस्था जो शून्यता की जो अवस्था है, वो अवस्था शिव की अवस्था है. Now when we say that when Shiva is closing his eyes, what is he doing? Exactly, he is doing the same thing when you are in perfect sushupti or void. There nothing exists. No duality, no time, no space. In your absolute deep sleep state, do you remember the world? Do you remember your relationships? Do you remember anything that you have in this world? Or do you remember even your name? Do you even remember what you are? Everything just vanishes. But as it is coming for a short time and going away, it is called as the Sushupti. Let's understand the 4 parts of Sushupti. The first part of Sushupti is Sushupti Jagrit. You are wakeful, yet in deep sleep. This particular term in the term of a yogi is called as the Udita. Means the one who has risen, ascended, जो ऊपर ascend कर चुका है. He is totally like being above his own self. Means you have, this particular person has risen above the world of impressions and has entered into the world of negation of impressions. Now, in a dream state, what you are seeing is there is an impression of the outer world or the inner world, that through which you are seeing the dream. Here, it is negating all the experiences. मतलब वो किसी के साथ जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है. इसीलिए वहां पे कोई स्वप्न नहीं है. There is absolute void. Makes sense? That means the connection has not only deducted from the outer world, the connection has been deducted from the inner world as well. अंतः जगत का भी जो नाता था वो भी कट हो चुका है. So in this space, all that is left of the world impressions are only and only going towards Shiva. ये स्थिति में आप जब पहुंचते हो, आपको संसार के प्रति नहीं भागते. उस स्वप्न में भी आप एक ही चीज देखते हो, आप अपने इष्ट आराध्य देवता को देखते हो. So now people at times ask me, am I dreaming about that I saw this? Did it really happen? Did the God appeared? I saw that Shiva was speaking to me. हुआ है ना? Then you thought like, oh, my imagination. No, the yogis say that there is a perspective in which if you are in perfect action, means that you are awakened into the sushupti state, all that you will be seeking your God. Means स्वप्न में भी स्वप्न नहीं रहा, आप स्वप्न में जागृत रहते रहते अपने दिव्यता के तरफ प्रस्थान करते हो. That is called as the sushupti jagrit avastha. You have no thoughts, no impressions, and all that you know is absolute void. Then comes the second, sushupti swapna. Now, can I dream in that space? It is like dreaming in that deep sleep. What exactly happens here? In this state, what happens is you are somewhat conscious. You travel in the world of subjective consciousness and gather impressions and awareness of objective experience. Let us understand this in a very simplified way. Might be sounding bit complicated. यहाँ पे क्या होता है सुषुप्ति स्वप्न में? Here I said when you are in sushupti, you are awake, then what do? You are running towards your Ishtadev. In sushupti and then sushupti swapna means it kind of a dream. So what you are referring is, I am running towards my deity, but my deity looks like this, a shape and form. Can you see here, when you asked me, did I saw the Shiva? Did I met this divine being? You met the divine being, but you met the divine being with a form. Or else how do you know that you met Shiva or a yogi or Devi or a Devata? That means even in that state, you have a reference point that they should look like this and it looked like that. That's why I know it is Shiva. Can you see? There also there is a thought construct. A thought construct of it should look like this. इसीलिए उसे फिर स्वप्न अवस्था कहा जाता है. Because it is not completely a wakeful state, right? Or else there could not have been anything and you could still feel, oh, I met Shiva. No, you see, you know what happened? I was sleeping. I was in deep sleep. I don't know. It was absolutely nothing. It was nothing was there. And suddenly a light appeared. And from that, a person walked out with wearing a lion skin and a hand in a trident in his hand and a damru and is shaking. And then he came out. And he said, oh, then I saw Shiva. No, why can't you experience Shiva without all that as well? That's where a differentiation happens between a person of this world and the person who is a yogi. For a yogi, it will not see any physical form there. It will just be in absolute bliss. अब समझ में आया कि सुषुप्ति में भी कैसे स्वप्न देख लेते हो आप लोग? Although you met a divine being, yet you gave a form to that divine being, a name to that divine being. Or else, whether you are talking to Shiva or anything, or the Brahman, how does it matter? So then comes the next step, which is the third step, Sushupti, Sushupti. बोले अभी तो समझ में भी ये नहीं आ रहा कि मैं किस अवस्था में हूं. So I only thought 4, now you have made it more. And this more I am still oscillating thinking मैं कहाँ हूं actually. No, don't worry. Yesterday I was talking to Mrudul and he had some worldly questions related to the corporate and I was answering him. And then he said, the market is so huge. What should we do? कैसे करें? Then I said one particular thing. I'll tell in Hindi, then I will repeat that in English. I said, आसमान अपने आप को बड़ा इसलिए नहीं बना देता कि तू उसे डर जाए. आसमान अपने आप को बड़ा इसलिए नहीं करता कि तू उसे डर जाए. आसमान ने अपने आप को इतना बड़ा कर रखा है ताकि तू उड़ पाए. The sky is not huge so that you will be frightened. The sky is so huge so that you can fly. Similarly, my dear friend, when I am talking all these things, it is not to confuse you, but to create a big sky where you can fly. Makes sense? So there is nothing to be confused. See, these are all the ideas that you should go through. No one is teaching all these things, my dear friends, anymore. They only say, close your eyes, transcend. Arey, kahan transcend karu? And even if I'm transcending, where am I? Am I dreaming in dream? क्या मैं सुषुप्ति की अवस्था को टच किया हूं? क्या सुषुप्ति में मैं वो स्वप्न देख रहा हूं? If you know all these things, at least your mind will be at a calm, quiet state. It won't question you. तब क्या होगा? Many of your own things that you will going to experience again later on this life, you will have a reference point. Acha, so this happened. And then you will not be just thinking that I was imagining, because all these things have been written in our scriptures. So I'm not telling you all this to be frightened or you getting lost in it. I'm telling all this so that you are much more aware than anyone else. एक बार जाके किसी को पूछो कि कॉन्शियसनेस के कितने स्तर है, वो 4 बता देंगे. उसको बोलो उसके बाद क्या है वो बताओ. Then you teach them. Okay, so now coming back to the Sushupti. Swapna is done. Sushupti. Here the objective experience is waning. You are subdued and tranquil. This place is called as the Shanta Bhava. There is no agitation. In the peaceful background, you are just sitting. You are just happy without any subjective consciousness or awareness. Here, peace does not translate into subjective bliss. Now, एक चीज यहां पे समझने वाली बात है. इस स्थिति में क्या होता है? इस स्थिति में ये होगा कि just now, when I'm speaking, you are feeling that happiness within you, right? But here you are feeling happiness because of the external objective that is coming to you, that is becoming the source of your happiness. मैंने कुछ अच्छा कहा, मैंने कुछ गाना गाया, मैंने नाच किया, तो whatever I said, you liked it. You are feeling that happiness within you. But there is no subject, there is no object, yet you are just blissful. It's exactly the same thing we talked ना. आप सुबह उठते हो और आपको पता नहीं आप क्यों खुश हो, और आप सुबह उठते हो आपको पता नहीं क्यों दुखी हो. So similarly, in that state, there is no subjective connection, there is no object available, but all that you are experiencing is bliss. Now you say, ये कब होता है? ये तब होता है जब आप मुझे ये कहते हो कि I felt so amazing in that space that I did not wanted to open my eyes. मैं अपने आंखें खोलना नहीं चाहता था. वो ध्यान इतना सुंदर था कि मैं अपने आंखें खोलना नहीं चाहता था, मैं वहीं रह जाना चाहता था. Was there a external input given? No, you reach to that space and you don't want to come back from that space. What is that? This is that space. Sushupti mein Sushupti. You are absolutely blissful without anything. So that is the space. Now coming to the fourth, this is called as the Sushupti Turiya, the fourth state of absolute deep sleep, or the most amazing one. Here, first you begin with the awareness of the subjective consciousness. Means I know that I am going into that void. You're aware of that. And after that, what happens is You enter into a state of samadhi. ये एंटर इनटू समाधि क्या होता है? इससे पहले सुषुप्ति सुषुप्ति समझ में आया, बट एंटरिंग इनटू समाधि कैसे हो सकता है? ये सुषुप्ति तुरिया, यहां पे एक ही चीज हो जाता है. हियर you are no more running towards your deity. Your deity is not running towards you. You become your deity. यहां आप उसके पीछे नहीं भाग रहे हो, वो आपके पीछे नहीं भाग रहा है, आप वो बन जाते हो. You absolutely experience yourself as Shiva. Not that I'm waiting for Shiva. Shiva is coming for me. I am running towards Shiva. No. I have become that Shiva. And it is not a subjective way of saying. In that moment, you will feel like that. Unknowingly, you are just there and you start crying. आपको पता भी नहीं चल रहा है कि why you are crying. When I want to show that I am so happy, but still tears are rolling down. Absolute tattvamasi state. Here the yogis call it, this particular state is called as the suprasanna state, means absolute bliss. Particular words आप अगर इसके लिए इस्तेमाल कर सकते हो, you have identified completely with the God as him or her. And at the same time, you feel their grace, you feel that brightness, their warmth, their blessedness all around you, as if you have been dipped into that serenity. आपको किसी ने उठा के उसके अंदर डुबा दिया है. But when is it happening? It is in Sushupti state. Remember, you are lying down on the bed and all these things is happening to you. Understood? सुषुप्ति की अवस्था, सो रहा है, शरीर सो रहा है, मन सो रहा है, लेकिन ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं. For a yogi, he experiences all this in this form. Have you experienced it? All the four, what I elaborately told. आपके साथ ये हुआ है, नहीं हुआ है? हुआ है ना? Then who are you? My favorite question. अगर ये सारे चीजें आपके साथ हो चुकी है, आप करते हो, तो आप कौन हो? और आप अपने आप को कहते हो मैं ना गया गुजरा हूं, मेरा किस्मत खराब है, मेरा ये है वो है, आई एम इल फेटेड, बैड फेटेड, गॉड हैज थ्रोन मी आउट, आई एम टू मच इनटू दिस वर्ल्ड, मेरे से जाप नहीं हो रहे, मेरे से मंत्र जाप नहीं हो रहे, मेरे से कुछ नहीं हो पा रहा है. कुछ तो नहीं हो पा रहा, फिर ये सब कैसे हो रहा है? कैन यू सी, we are looking out at that 10% and discounting the 90% that we are. We are discounting the 90% by focusing on the 10% that we are not. क्या आप ये संसार हो? क्या आप ये शरीर हो? क्या ये आप मन हो? क्या आपकी बुद्धि हो? आप ये सब नहीं हो, लेकिन आपका पूरा ध्यान इसी 10% के ऊपर है. 90% जो आप हो वो खोया हुआ है. It's not available. It is absolutely available to you, but you are not seeing it because you are lost in that 10%. Oh, Dhavalji, we know like that there is a person is there, like he comes and the teacher comes into the classroom and he says on the blackboard, he just makes a small little dot. Sorry, it is a whiteboard and he draws a small little black dot on that. And then he asks students, what do you see? What would the students see? Oh, we see a black dot. अरे इतना बड़ा white board है, वो दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. Similarly, when we are too much lost in our thoughts of the mind body, we are pointing, we are just looking at that small little dot, forgetting who is looking at it. What is seeing all this is, who is the experiencer here? Who is experiencing all these things? In whose presence all these things are appearing and disappearing? We forget that 90%. Rather, 99% would be better, I think. Because we are lost in the dot of this life, the dot of the happenings, the dot of things that are happening all around me. And I think my life is too important. My life is too important because I only think I will live for 50, 60, 100 years. That's it. But you forgot that you have never taken a birth, neither you will die. The day you realize this, that I have never taken a birth, neither I will die, this body has come and gone, you will see it is not even a dot in the eternity. It's not even a blink of an eye since the eternity has begun. It is not even a speck who you truly are. This is how the yogi looks at it. What looks like a gigantic thing as life for you, he says, a stopgap, ek jugaad, a halt. Just like you are traveling on a long drive and you just wait down just to take a sip of coffee or a cup of tea. In your entire journey that you are, this life is just that, a stopgap where you have just taken a break from being who you truly are to being this what you think yourself to be. Make sense? So remember all these things, because if you remember all these things, now when I'm saying all that, are you able to relate yourself to that? Agar relate kar pa rahe ho, then who are you? See, if I am talking French and you are able to understand French, that means you know French. If I start talking in Japanese and you don't know, you won't understand. But when I'm saying this, you are understanding, that means what? You know it. But the entire drama and game is, you know it and you don't show it. You just say, let the drama continue. And that's how this world continues to be. Ise Maya kehte. So next, coming back to the Sushupti, is like, we have talked about all these 4 states of Sushupti as well. That is, the last state was the Suprasanna state, the bliss of being just that divine. For the world, Sushupti is one way of unconsciousness. Why it is called unconsciousness? Because you are achieving to that bliss without knowing it, without realizing that. It just happens. मतलब वो हो जा रहा है, आप कुछ करते नहीं. Without your knowledge, it is happening. It is happening randomly. इसीलिए उसे सुषुप्ति की अवस्था कहते हैं for the person who is in this world. Here, for a yogi, he has something which is called as the Tushnim Bhava. Here, the absolute consciousness is established, and that consciousness transcend something which is called as the Rupastha, means the form and shape. For a Jnani, it is one of the great pervasion. इसे कहते हैं महाव्याप्ति. महाव्याप्ति क्यों कहते हैं? Because not just being a human, not just this form and shape, I become the ultimate without form and shape. Means निराकार ब्रह्म की स्थिति. Yet I am sleeping, but consciously I know I am that. Can you see? That's why it is said the yogi never sleeps and a bhogi never awakes. समझ में आ रहा है? जो योगी है वो हर अवस्था में जागृत है, और जो भोगी है वो हर अवस्था में सोया हुआ है. He is sleeping in this dream, in this awake state, because he is not able to see the reality behind it. In the dream, he does not know why he is dreaming. In the Sushupti, he has no idea of Sushupti. So he will never reach to that space of Turiya. So the yogi never sleeps and the bhogi never awakes. That's the difference between the people sitting here. Which category do you fall in? You never sleep. Well, no. We are in the middle now. Neither yogi, neither bhogi. So we are balancing between both. So at times I feel like Shiva and at times I feel miserable. Chalo, at least if we are in the mid range also, I have a way to push it. It's like the cat on the wall. Idhar jayegi ki udhar jayegi. So when you are sitting on that wall, what I'm trying to do is to push you to the other side of Shiva. That's it. Mera kaam utna hi hai. Shall I push further? So that is the Mahavyapti. Mahavyapti because it is no more just contented to this. It has Vyapti means it has expounded itself to more than what it is, or more than what it experienced itself till that time. Yahan pe kya hoga? In this form and state, what happens to you is you are sleeping, you are into the Sushupti state, but that day you will experience so much of bliss and calmness and quietness. When you wake up, you say, I don't know why I'm happy. Now you know why you are happy. Are you getting that? आप जो कहते थे कि मुझे पता नहीं है कि मैं क्यों खुश हूं, अब आपको पता चल गया है कि आप जागने के बाद इतना खुश क्यों हो, क्योंकि you were awake into that space of divinity. There was no differentiation between the divine and you were aware that you are the divine. That experience, that bliss has come into you now, and that's why you wake up happily without any reason. And then what do? You roam around your house. And people say, pagal ho gaya ye. And laugh out loud. Like, exactly. So now, we'll move to the Turiya state. अभी जो Turiya state जो है ना, it is something again beyond. Yet I will try my best to make you understand, as we have understood all this. I'll try my best to put forth in such simple way that you understand what that state is now, because the steps have been created. Now you can see the God. So जब इस स्थिति तक पहुंचे हैं हम, तुरिया is the एक अभी मैंने कहा ना कि महाव्याप्ति. So these are all happening when you are sleeping and lying down. But Turiya state is a state which is the background of all these things. It is not that you have to reach out to Turiya state. Turiya state is the base on which all these things are happening. I am awake, I am dreaming, I am in deep sleep. All these states in the background, it is the Turiya. For example, I have many varieties of light decorated for some celebration. Many varieties of light. But where are all those varieties of lights appearing? In darkness. Yes or no? I have taken a variety of lights. एक लाल कलर का जल रहा है, एक ब्लू कलर का जल रहा है, एक बिजली की जैसा जल रहा है, एक it is closing, like switching off and coming out, and varieties of light, lining lights, designing lights, I don't know what all you call. But when you are looking at this, where are you seeing all this? You are seeing all this because the darkness persists. Because of that darkness, now can you see the darkness is existing throughout all the lights, and on that the light is coming and going. Similarly, all these three states are only dancing on the state called as the Turiya state. Now, why do I say so? Because it is not just a state, it is you. आप ही हो. Because without you, can all these three states exist? No, right? It cannot exist. What is a Turiya state? Turiya state means transcending everything. Right now, think about this. If you transcend this body, mind, and all that you are seeing and your senses and experiences, if you discard all that, now what are you? You transcend everything. And that's what I say. What transcends everything is the state of Turiya. That means you are that. Who are you? What is Shiva? What are you seeking? What are you looking forward to? What do you want to experience when you are that? Shiva without Shakti is Sava. Shiva in ignorance is you. Shiva in awakefulness is true you. Now what you are experiencing, see, I will put it in a very typical way, might be a rhythmic fashion. Shiva through you is a human. Shiva as you is the true you. So when you are experiencing all this outside, you are forgetting your true self, you are becoming a human. When you are connecting back to your source, you are that Tattvamasi. So remember that time, to and through. So let's come to the Turiya is above the, there is another state called as the Pramatri. Pramatri का मतलब ये होता है, it is like an activity of the subject and object. मतलब subject object के खेल कूद से परे. What is this? What is beyond subject, game and drama? Just like that, as I said, the light is blinking. There is a drama going on. Light is blinking. There is a running light. Light is going from this side to that side. An image is created and all those things. But where is it appearing? In the darkness. Right? So this is exactly what is said. It is beyond all the drama. जिस स्थिति को कहते हैं प्रमात्री. Now we will run a little bit faster because time is already jumped around. The worldly people have not experienced Turiya apart from these three states of wakefulness, dream sleep, and deep sleep. And as they have not enjoyed it and they don't know what is beyond that, they call it as the fourth state. But there is no fourth state. Can I say that because I have three lights, darkness is the fourth object? No. Light is constantly there on which the light is, the darkness is constantly there on which the light is appearing. So the darkness is not the fourth state. It is the state on which all these things are appearing. So similarly, Turiya is not a fourth state. It is available in all the three states. तीनों स्थिति में है. And then this is why the yogis called this as the Rupatita, means the one that is beyond the Rupa, means the formation, or what do you call as the outlining of this. The one who realizes this Turiya state, he says it is Rupatita, which is beyond any kind of form. And this also transcends all physical as the self and establishes one's own self within itself. For the Gyanis, Turiya is a state of Prachaya. Prachaya का मतलब होता है where it is complete, whole, total, and all-inclusive, wherein there is not just one place called as universe. He becomes everything. And that's why he is called as the Rupatita, who transcends beyond the object and subject. जो दिखाई देता है उससे परे चला जाता है. That is where a space called as the Turiya. Now coming back to the first one of Turiya, but Turiya has only three states. There is no Turiya state. There are only three states to that, and that is, the first one is the Turiya Jagrit. When a person is wakeful in Turiya, where the mind and the function that it does not exist. यहाँ पे मस्तिष्क अपना काम करना बंद कर देता है. Here, the mind is in a state of absolute bliss. And here, the mind is a space, जो आप mindless state कहते हो ना, mindless not out of ignorance but mindless with choice. इसे मनोमनम कहते हैं. In this space, it is beyond the reach of the mind, because here the mind has to stop working, then only it appears. How? You are seeing the lights. You are not seeing the darkness. If I switch off the lights, what do you see? So the mind is like a blinking light. That is keeping all your attraction there. All your focus is on that blinking light. But the blinking is closed. What do you see? Similarly, in this space, when all these activities of the mind stops, ceases, and then it appears. Because it is not going anywhere, coming from anywhere. All that needs it is coming to the foreground, not the background. The darkness was the background on which the light was shining. But when the light was closed, the darkness became the foreground, not the background. Heavy हो गया है ना आज? Too much of knowledge. इतने में मतलब मैं सिर्फ 1 से लेके 7 सूत्र तक का ही बात कर रहा हूं. इसमें 800 से ज्यादा सूत्र है. ये एक में बोल रहा हूं. तो मैंने सिर्फ 3-4 सूत्र उठा के आपको यहां तक लेके आया हूं. और पूरे के 800 के 8 को सुना तो बोलेंगे बहुत हो गया, भगवान की जरूरत नहीं, हम यही मोक्ष प्राप्त कर लिए लगता है. So can you see the kind of demarcation that has been done in this culture? Nothing has been left. Okay, so let me continue with the, because कभी कभी मैं एक स्थिति में चला जाता हूं जिसे उन्मनी स्थिति कहते हैं, where the mind ceases and you just become like a playful person. You are not doing it intentionally. You are not doing it to just bring that happiness. No, you are happy. That's why happiness is coming out of you. That's it. वो उन्मनी स्थिति होती है. ये वो किसी का सुनने वाला नहीं है. वो बस खुश है तो खुश है, वो नाच रहा है तो नाच रहा है. इट्स अ स्टेट ऑफ, क्या है शिव का क्या स्थिति है? वो स्वतंत्र है. ये स्थिति है. दिस इज अ स्पेस. अब देखो राजन जी बोलते हैं कि नहीं मैं शांत बैठा हूं लेकिन नाच तो अंदर चल रहा है. हाँ चल रहा है. Let it happen. You are not dancing at a physical level, but the dance continues. You are not showcasing that you are happy, but the happiness continues. You are not trying to be blissful. The blissfulness continues. ये उन्मनी स्थिति होती है. मतलब किसी का नहीं सुनना. Not even listening to your own mind. उन्मनी स्थिति. So now, when the Unmati sthiti is attained, the chitta is free of the mind. Because the mind is the thing that keeps you attached to the world. It floats freely. तैरने लगता है. कहां पे? ये विस्तार संसार के बाहर. एथर, मतलब जो स्पेस जिसे कहते हो, वहां पे वो तैरने लगता है. कहां पे है यह स्थिति? In the consciousness of Shiva. So you are no more in your consciousness, you are swimming in the consciousness of Shiva. That's why I call it as Unmani, because you are not listening to your mind, you are not listening to anyone, you are just dancing. Kahan pe? Wherever you want. And that space, abhi kuch log naach rahe hain na? Exactly wahi hai. Why are you dancing? Can you tell me? क्या मिल गया जो आप इतना हंस रहे हो? उल्टा आज मैंने आपके सर के ऊपर इतना सब्जेक्ट डाल दिया है कि वो भारी के आपका हेडेक होना चाहिए, लेकिन आप हंस रहे हो. What could be that reason? Why are you smiling? That means, आप जानते हो जब आप कोई चीज, let's say I'll give you this very simple example. You go to a place and you already know what is going to happen. Let's say it is your birthday and people are planning a surprise party, but you know what the surprise is. कुछ लोग बहुत अच्छे होते हैं ना सीक्रेट्स छुपाने में, वो सब बोल देते हैं पहले फोन पे, तुम ना ऐसा करना, तुम आना और मैं ना तब ये लाइट जलाऊंगा, ऐसे सारे लोग पर्दे के पीछे होंगे, सब निकल के बाहर आएंगे, लेकिन यही सरप्राइज है. बोले हाँ ठीक ठीक डन, आई विल बी सरप्राइज्ड. Then you see how surprised you look. You enter into the light, into the room, and then suddenly light comes and people, happy birthday! And you say, ah! Matlab, they are surprised to see you, how surprised you are. And that's exactly what it is. That's why you are laughing. Because you know all these things. You are not illiterate. The only thing that I am doing is bringing it out. And when I am bringing it out, you are able to connect with it. And as you are connecting with it, you are smiling at your own self, not at me. अरे ये भी पता है मुझे, ये भी पता है मुझे, ये भी पता. But I was just acting that I don't know. Who does that? जो सब कुछ जानता है लेकिन मानता नहीं है. Can you see the playfulness of the divine happening through you? Where it has chosen to forget and then seek. How many of you have played this game called as that treasure hunt? खेला है ना? पता है ट्रेजर वेजर कुछ मिलने वाला नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी हंट करते रहते हो. लास्ट में डब्बा मिलता है चॉकलेट का. So, but for that, in order to get that box, how competitive you become. Don't worry, किसी को छोटा डब्बा मिलता है, किसी को बड़ा डब्बा मिलता है, डब्बा ही मिलेगा. Because as far as you run, all that you will get might be a chocolate box. वो भी खट्टा मीठा हो सकता है या मीठा मीठा हो सकता है. उसमें भी लोग बनाए के सेंटर करंट बोल के चॉकलेट बनाते, मुंह में रखते ही वो करंट मारता है. मतलब what kind of experiences you all people want to have, that even you made a chocolate that gives you a shock, center shock. Has anybody tried that? I have tried it. ने दिया, मुंह में रखते ही करंट मारता है उसमें. अरे ये भी, मैं बोला किस किस तरीके के इंसान हो भाई. Life is giving you so many shocks, you are not happy with that, now you are buying it. And they said, we want to explore. I said, oh, explore करते करते explode हो जाते हो. So coming back to this उन्मनी state. तुरिया का पहला जो है तुरिया जागृत, इसके बारे में हमने कहा कि the mind is absolutely in a blissful state. It actually is not doing anything, but it is experiencing that unmani state. Then that you are absolutely floating in the space of the Shiva. Here, there is no fear of any cosmic or worldly things. Here, the yogi actually goes from Om to Bindu. Now, what is this? Om to Bindu. Again, let me ask if this is in your experience. How many of you used to chant Om Namah Shivaya or Namah Shivaya? जाप करते थे. कभी आपको ऐसी स्थिति आई है आप ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय कहते कहते नमः शिवाय गायब हो जाता है, खाली ओम रह जाता है? It will happen. It will be a space where only and only the Om is remaining. Namah Shivaya has gone away. Why? I am saying Om नमः शिवाय, नमः शिवाय मीन्स आई एम नॉट, नमः शिवाय मेरा कुछ भी नहीं है, सब शिव का है। जब मेरा और शिव का हट गया तो सिर्फ और सिर्फ ओम रह जाता है। मतलब मैं कब कहता हूं मेरा नहीं है, ओके ये मेरा नहीं है, ये शिव का है, नमः शिवाय, दिस इज नॉट माइन, दिस इज शिवास, नमः शिवाय। बट वेन मैं नहीं रहा, शिव नहीं रहा, वी बिकेम वन, क्या रह गया? फिर किसको कहूं नमः शिवाय? Then the only thing that is remaining is the Omkara, the Pranava, the first letter, the first sound. And then what happens? The next thing that will happen is, after some times, that Om will also go away and all that will remain is a Bindu. For some people, it would look like a Ardha Chandra. For some people, it would only be vibrations as Nada. For some people, it would be absolutely pure blissful state called as the Mahananda. For some, it is like Samani, and for some, it is Unmani. आप बोलोगे ये सारे चीजें क्या है? Shall I tell further or shall I stop here? ये जो स्थिति आप पहुंचते हो जब तुरिया स्थिति में जाते हो, ये पहला स्थिति है तुरिया का, ठीक है? पहले स्थिति के तुरिया में 7 तरीके के शक्तियां आते हैं आप में। बता दो फिर। The 7 kind of shaktis that you experience while you reach to the space of Turiya. Actually, वही नाम बोल रहा था मैं आपको अभी. So, the first one would be Unmani. You'll not listen to anything, you are just dancing. Then Samani. I am dancing, but not dancing alone. I see everything dance with me. Then comes out as Anji. Anji means you feel the most powerful, just like Hanuman. The power of that. Then it's called the Mahananda. Oh, sorry, Mahananda. Mahananda means you're absolutely blissful. Then comes the Nada. There is only Nada, that's vibration going on. Then I see the Ardha Chandra and the Bindu. And here, these are all the tattvas of Srishti. अब ये सृष्टि के तत्व कैसे हैं उसको समझाने के लिए और एक सेशन लेना पड़ेगा कि ये 7 चीजें जो हैं इनको लेके आप सृष्टि के चक्र को कैसे बनाते हो. So in order to understand that, there would be another complete session. Shall I start? तो पूरा सैटरडे नाइट और संडे दिन भर यही बैठोगे तुम लोग. घर वालों को खाना बना के देना ही नहीं देना है. नहीं बोला मैं आज उन्मनी बन गई हूं. आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू लिसन टू एनीवन. Okay, chalo. So I will try my best to get this done, like these 7 shaktis, how it is related to the tattvas. तत्वों की सृष्टि कैसे होती है उसके बारे में जिस दिन बात करूंगा इसके बारे में I will talk elaborately about that, because this will talk about the 7 steps of development of the tattvas. तत्व कैसे बने 7 स्तर पे. So I will talk about that some other day. Now come to the second one. It is called as the Turiya Swapna, dream sleep in Turiya. In this case, the yogi crosses the limited knowledge to unlimited knowledge, called as the Ananta. क्या होता है यहाँ पे? How many Q&A sessions have we done? 128. Have you ever seen me struggling with any answer? What could be the reason? Are you understanding the reason now? He has transcended one particular knowledge and it has connected to the entire knowledge. And here, many times you might have seen, I just start laughing in that space. आप सवाल पूछते ही मैं हंसना शुरू करता हूं. Why do I start laughing? Because I am in that state of bliss. And in that state of bliss, I am connected to the eternal source. And the eternal source is saying, ye le answer. Then what would you do? This is the space. the space of तुरिया के साथ आप स्वप्न स्थिति के जैसा है. It is not a sleeping state. You are absolutely awake. You are answering everything, but you are sleeping to the world. सांसारिक चीजों से आप निवृत्त हो. And then you are the freedom to talk anything. So here, it has an access to the divine. It has an access to the unlimited wisdom that is called as the Ananta. Then the last part of Turiya is the Turiya Shushupti. In this Turiya Shushupti, when you see, I said when I'm giving an answer, I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you, but I have the answer because I'm connected somewhere, right? But I'm still sitting in a wakeful state. I'm opening my eyes, I'm speaking. But there are yogis who are not speaking, just closing their eyes and in the state of Turiya. What is that state? That state is the third state of Turiya, which is called as the Turiya Shushupti. They have ascended and they are just sitting there motionless. Hil bhi nahi rahe wo. Wherein the yogi is unlimited and sees the divine Shakti in all the things. He is no more able to differentiate anything outside, inside, me, he, them, there, this, that. No differentiation. And he's just sitting in deep meditation, in absolute peace. What is that state? This is the state of called as the third state or the Turiya Shushupti. And here he becomes the Sarva Artham. Means he is not trying to find an earth, means a meaning in other things. He becomes the meaning to everything. Sarva Artham. He becomes the meaning to everything. This is Shiva, that is Shiva. No, I am Shiva. I am everything. Everything is Shiva. So am I. Tattvamasi aham brahmasmi. So has it ever happened to you? You are in deep meditation and then you don't see any differentiation. Might be the thing that you ever or are very, very irritated with, or the person that you are irritated with, or the thing that you are irritated with, it does not irritate you in that moment anymore. You become you start forgiving them in that space. होता है? इसे शायद गलती से हो गया होगा. शायद वो उस स्तर से जा रहा था, शायद because of that he did this. And you become all benevolent. You become all happy and you say, चल ठीक है, जो हो गया हो गया. You might not speak that out, but you feel that within yourself. And when you do that, what do you see? You feel that happiness within yourself. Absolutely, Dhavalji. Turiya is the absolute wakeful state. संपूर्ण जागृत अवस्था ही तुरिया है, क्योंकि इसमें मुझे और कुछ भी दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. आप, मैं, ये वो कुछ नहीं है. All that is me. All that is Shiva. So differentiation nahi raha. And that's why I have stopped being judgmental. I have stopped giving. I have stopped taking. I have stopped doing this. I have stopped doing that. यहाँ पे वो आता है ना जो हम कहते हैं, माला जपू न कर जपू, मुख से कहूँ न राम, राम हमारा हमें जपे, हम पायो विश्राम. Here it goes. He has reached to that space where there is no mala, there is no person who is doing it, there is no mantra, there is no God. All that remains is all one. That is the state of Turiya Sushupti. Here the human spiritual experience, everything seems seamless and it combines together in the I consciousness of Shiva. This is the space of absolute realization. And this in the yogic culture is called as the Mahaprachaya, not Mahapralaya. Mahapralaya means destruction of everything in this worldly affair. Mahaprachaya means destruction of everything within. and merging back into the Shiva consciousness. So Mahapralaya, Mahaprachaya. So a yogi experiences a Mahapralaya, but within itself. And then what it says, what all was created returns back to its source. So what all his construct was there, all thing returns back to its source, and it experiences the true self as Shiva himself. And then there is another, the ultimate thing, that is called as a state of Turyatita. Now, the moment you reach the Turyatita state, you will not even be there to say that I am Shiva. Here, the seer of the darkness is also no more there. आपने कहा कि darkness है, उसके वजह से उसके ऊपर light आया. There is darkness on which the light is dancing. But there is another person who is seeing the darkness and the light. Here, that seer also disappears. Now tell me what is remaining. Can you give a word as nothing also? Because that word itself will not be there. And that's why we call as Shiva, the one that is and not. जो है भी, नहीं भी. You thought Shiva was the darkness on which the world called as light was dancing, but there is a seer, you, who was seeing all that. That means neither the darkness nor the light, it is the seer who is the Shiva. And have you seen all these things? Have you experienced light and darkness? Have you experienced world and spirituality? Have you experienced this duality and equality? Have you experienced that space of inequality and absolute bliss? Who are you? Shiva. The one who is, मैं तो हूं. The one who is not, मैं नहीं हूं. Then the true meaning of Aham Brahmasmi appears. That although I am here in this world, she, yet I am not of this world. Wow. So that space is called as the Turyatita state. इसीलिए शिव को तुर्यातीत कहते हैं. Means he is even beyond all the drama of Turya also. And that's why उसे संहार करता कहते हैं. Because he even dissolves the darkness, he dissolves the light, he even dissolves the one who is seeing the darkness and light. उसे क्या कहोगे जो सब कुछ खत्म कर देता है? संहार करता ही कहोगे ना. But I believe this should be the true demolition, where nothing remains of me, not even the witness. All that is the Mahavyapti of myself as the ultimate. So thank you for a long lecture today. And when we have started, I said that we will do the process also. But by looking at your faces, I don't think we should do. It is better we do it some other time, or you practice on your own. What do you say? Or else जिनको जाना है वो जा सकते हैं. जिनको ये will do the same step. Remember the top of the head, the shoulder, Okay, so can you hear me now? So there was
Yes,
some problem with the
yes,
mic.
yes, Maharaj.
Okay. So now if you are all ready, if you are sitting on the ground, most amazing thing. If you cannot sit on the ground, sit on a chair. So the mantra, I need 5 people, those who can chant it 51 times. The same mantra goes as the easier one that we started with. Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. So who all are going to chant? If you can please raise your hand for the benefit of all others and to help me as well. Okay, so Sashiji is there. Alivaji is there. Sashiji, just raise that virtual hand as well. Although this is also a virtual hand for me only. So can you see, I cannot say like it is a virtual or real hand. Okay, so we have 3. So 2 more people who can chant this. Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. Haribhai, if you can just type that and keep it so that for the benefit of everyone.
Yes, Maharaj.
Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. So we have 3, 2 more. Come on. No other people want to chant this? Very good. So then I will choose people then. Either you raise your hand or I choose. What do you think? Acha. Chalo. So let us begin with this. Oh, want to experience. There are 2 ways, Sidvilas. You can experience Shiva. You can make others experience Shiva. What is better? You can experience Shiva or you become someone who makes others experience Shiva. Both, right? Then both is available. When you are chanting, you are making others experience Shiva. When others are chanting, you are experiencing Shiva. So both are there. So we have 5 people. Chalo. See, at times you have to sell your words. Kya bole bhai? But ultimately what we do? We sold it. 5 hands are raised. So Haribhai is just typing that. So all others, please sit possibly on the ground.
Maharaj, again we lost your voice.
Okay, so now
हाँ, it's clear.
मुझे लगता है आपसे पहले ये ध्यान में चले जा रहा है. So possibly sit on the ground. If not, sit on the chair, cross-legged, and your hands, you can keep it just like this on your lap. आपके घुटनों के ऊपर ऐसे रख सकते हो so that it is facing towards the upward side. आपका palm facing towards the roof or the sky. Or you can keep it in the simple mudra of like putting both the hands, left hand down, right hand up, thumbs touching each other in the lap. Whichever is easy or comfortable for you. Or if there is any particular way you do that, some people do this. If you are comfortable with that, do that. No problem with it. But it should be comfortable enough so that you can focus on the mantra and the points. The first point begins at the top of the head, then the left shoulder, then the left knee, right shoulder. This is it. Okay? The Panchaswara Sthiti. So, Haribhai, if you are ready, and Alivaji, can you please unmute? So you are aware of the mantra, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Om Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Shiva Shiva, Sadashiva. Okay, so Haribhai has put that on the screen for the benefit of others as well. Anyways, the person who is chanting, they can look at it and chant. And the person who is chanting, please keep the count as 51. Once it is done, you can stop. So we'll go to the next person. Okay. So Alivaji, let's begin. All the other people, are you ready? Please type yes or just show a thumb or something so that I know. Okay. Chalo. So let's begin. Alivaji.
Har Har Mahadev.
Har Har Mahadev. So let's focus on the top of the head, everyone.
Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam.
Thank you, Aliva ji. Deepika ji, can you please unmute? And now the focus should be on the left shoulder.
Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम.
Okay, Deepika ji, thank you. Chidvilas, can you please unmute? Now the focus on the left knee.
ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय हर हर शिव शिव सदा शिवम ओम नमः शिवाय Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam.
Thank you, Sivila. So I don't see any other hands. Kamlendra ji, can you take up? Please unmute.
Om Namah Shivaya, Har Har Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara 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 Shiva Shiva Sadashivam.
Thank you. So the final one, who wants to do it? So Revati ji, please unmute. Oh, I missed Shashi ji's hand out there. Okay. So Revati ji, please continue.
Om Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har 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 Shiva Sadashivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiva 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 Shiva Sadashivam. Is it? I think it's 51, no?
Yes. So now, Sashiji, if you are there, now the final, we have done 5 steps. Now the 6th step that you will add is you will focus on the heart chakra, the base of the heart. Sashiji, if you are there, please unmute and do the same chanting 51 times. Now everybody focuses on the heart.
Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv. Shiva Shiva Sadashivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv 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 Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Shiv Shiv Sada Shivam.
Now, you just sit here for a moment and just experience this space that has been created within you and surrounding you. Just for a minute, we will be sitting silently, observing all that is happening. Take a slow, deep breath. Fill your lungs. The air should go reach to your belly. Slowly exhale that out. One more time. Now you can take your time to open your eyes. So thank you, everyone. So with this, we complete this session of today. So till we meet again. Now you must be knowing like how things are in that space. At least you have an idea now. आभा जी कोई सवाल या कुछ है क्या? Okay, so please unmute.
प्रणाम गुरुजी।
प्रणाम आभा जी।
गुरुजी कमलेंद्र जी की चैंटिंग में एक साउंड आ रही थी घंटे की, मंदिर के घंटे जैसी साउंड। तो एक उनके पास क्या कोई साउंड सिस्टम में ये चैंटिंग हो रही थी, ऐसा कुछ था कि या वो इनर इंट्यूशन था, क्या था?
नहीं, उनके पास है कि नहीं वही बता सकते हैं आप।
हाँ पता है, आप पूछिएगा प्लीज।
तो कमलेंद्र जी मना कर रहे तो शायद हो सकता है।
घंटे जैसे मंदिर में जो घंटा बजाते हैं उसके बाद जो वाइब्रेशन होता है ना पीछे से, तो उनके चैंटिंग में बस ये वाइब्रेशन का फील हुआ काफी देर तक हर मंत्र के बाद। तो बस इतना था। भी आप बताइए क्या था?
बस कोई नहीं। सो विल नॉट गो इनटू एनालिसिस। मैंने कहा ना कि इफ यू आर टू उससे आगे निकलना है तो हमको एनालिसिस छोड़ देनी पड़ेगी। सो
ठीक है, ठीक है।
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
प्रणाम गुरु जी।
आभा जी।
थैंक यू गुरु जी, थैंक यू, प्रणाम गुरु जी।
Okay. So Revati ji, you want to say something or it was your raised hand for chanting?
No, for chanting it was.
Okay. Chalo. So thank you everyone. With this, with a heavy artillery of knowledge, and finally with this chanting, we are a little bit more knowing of all the things, all the steps that are there. So many more coming your way. Till that time, ultimately everything will end up in the same question. So till you get to that space, we will continue hitting, hammering, pushing, pulling, throwing, whatever you call. So till then, we meet you again on Wednesday. Thank you so much for your time and your efforts to being this. Thank you and see you all again. Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. Har Har Mahadev.